Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The Flat Chat. My name's Alan, I'm here with the boys, Stu, Jacob, Callum and Heggy once again. And today we're going to be looking at Game Week 2, the second episode of the Premier League match reviews for this weekend's games and of course the Premier League. So we had some good ones this weekend as well. There were some decent games going on and we may as well just get straight into it. So the first game we're looking at is of course the Villa game, which was the early kick-off. It finished Villa 2, Everton 1, and as you can tell by the look on Jacob's face, he is very delighted about that result. Danny Ings and Buendia scoring for Villa, and of course Luca Dean doing more for Everton now that he's left by scoring an own goal.
It wasn't enough though.
It wasn't enough for that as well. Also, I'm fuming at that because I had him in my fantasy. So yeah, Villa 2, Everton 1. Good result for Villa. Did any of you guys watch the game?
I watched the first half.
And then decided it's just awful.
I was going to a match.
Oh my god.
Closet Everton fan.
Oh, it was fucking terrible.
It was
genuinely so boring.
It was a snooze fest until the last 10 minutes and it all just kicked off.
We finally looked good from about the 86th minute onwards. Which
When you brought Onana on.
Onana was kind of at fault for the second goal for Villa, but he looks a fucking unit, doesn't he?
Aye.
He's a big boy.
It looks good with his feet.
Was it they say good touch for a big man or something?
It was one of those ones where obviously Gordon got the goal disallowed early doors and that as well, and I thought if that goal had been allowed, it could have changed again. I think Everton could have enforced themselves on the game a little bit more, but obviously, you know, I've seen the finish from Danny Ings. That was a goal and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens when you play strikers.
Do you think
they'll take chances?
Do you think that Lampard's under quite a lot of pressure now because of that loss?
I don't think so. No.
Do you think actually Gerrard would have been under more pressure?
I think Gerrard would have been
lost
under
than
more
Lampard
pressure.
has.
Yeah, definitely. Gerrard spent so much money at Villa. Lampard's finally started to, obviously with Onana and stuff like that, but when your big signing plays 5 or 10 minutes, whatever it is, clearly you can't be based on that. But no, the only people that put Lampard under pressure is the media. Everton fans love him. Everton board love him. He doesn't go until, talk to me in 6 games time. If we're still at 0 points, then maybe, but he needs a striker.
And what about Cody?
It just kind of shows you, doesn't it, that you're going for him and you're to be happy with it. But if he didn't play yesterday, I don't even know who would have played. He would get no centre halves. Our best centre halves plays 2 games out for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you think you need to get another one in?
Centre half? No, probably. Well, I don't think they will.
It's part of the problem is that come November, if Mina's back, you know, he spends half the time injured. But when Godfrey's back as well,
They suddenly have
Like,
5 or 6.
yeah.
So how long
They'll
was
get
he
out
out for?
He's in
November
for 3
apparently.
months, aye.
Because it was a surprisingly short time for a break, because I think it was quite a clean break.
Right.
But they've still got Michael Keane, but he's
Michael Keane.
He's a player.
It was rubbish, and until they get a striker in, it's going to stay rubbish.
You could drop Mason Holgate, man.
I was going to say,
He's been playing well.
Shut up.
He's been the least of their problems.
He's not the problem. It's the
Well,
fact
that's
that
right.
he's played up front.
I was going to say,
Aye, because he's not a striker. He's not a striker.
No, he's not a striker.
do you think a lot of your problems are going to be solved when Calvert-Lewin comes back fit?
Some of them.
They
We're not
need a
scoring
striker.
goals.
You do need a
Look
striker.
at Dean's finally scored for us. He hasn't scored for years.
I see like a tweet earlier on, by the way, where like he scored more goals for Everton now that he's left Everton, and he scored more goals for Villa now that he's.
Actually scored he scored an own goal last year against Villa for it, while he's still an Everton player.
Who's Everton's next game?
Forest at home.
I mean, that should be winning.
You should win that.
The crowd will be up for it. I fancy our chances, but again, we're going into no Calvert-Lewin, and we've not linked with anyone really. Broja, but that's on loan.
Yeah,
I think he's a good player.
I'd take Broja definitely. I mean, we're linked with Che Adams on loan as well.
Oh, no.
Oh yes.
Clearly just won Southampton's strike force from last year.
That's the most Everton
That is a
back
very
of all time. Che
And
Adams.
to be fair, if you're going for like
I
all
like Che
Southampton's,
Adams, but that's definitely a Scotland bias that makes me like Che Adams.
yeah.
I could get 7 goals.
But another thing about the game, I've got to respect Alex Iwobi just playing holding mid full time now.
I like Alex Iwobi.
It's a good
And yet
It's like Joe Linton, isn't it? He's shite as a
Aye.
forward. The goal record is abysmal, but actually as a footballer, he's finally doing the business.
He comes back deep and plays simple shit. Which when he did that as a winger, it's like, what the fuck? Am I doing
You're just like, you
here?
cut back and play it back, and you're like,
And yet it somehow wasn't the strangest number 6 starting decision of the weekend, but we'll get onto that. But so
I saw a lot of Arsenal fans saying they would take a Iwobi back.
A lot of us fans said he looked pretty good.
but that's
I don't remember.
That's a bit too far.
That was
He's
because
good since
they
March.
started the game and Xhaka then played. And
I think as well,
Xhaka
it's
played
like, if
well.
you look half decent for Everton,
Yeah,
you're
good.
amongst shite.
Get onto it.
Yeah. So anyway, are we going to move on to the next game? So the next one involves with Callum's team. It finished Arsenal 4, Leicester City 2. Gabriel Jesus making his mark for Arsenal with 2 goals.
And assists.
And 2 assists as well. Thank you, Callum. Xhaka getting the one in the 55th minute and Martinelli scoring one in the 75th. And of course an own goal for Leicester City by Saliba and Madison for Leicester as well. Gabriel Jesus. Let's have a little talk about him.
I mean, I've all seen the game. I've all seen the highlights.
We all saw the highlights, yeah.
How good was that first goal?
And it reminded me a bit of Delafeu at the...
Right,
in the
shut
FA
up!
No, not for Everton, for Watford in the FA Cup
Even
semi-final
worse.
a few years ago. An absolute belter. If you've not seen
The
that...
goal, right, I think you're
Aye,
talking
the
about.
goal, not the player, fucking hell. Jesus needs to do a lot more to get on Delafeu.
Just give us a trigger warning before you say things like
I was
that.
going to say, he's always scored like...
Look up the goal.
I know you're talking. I know
If
exactly.
you're
what
watching
talking
this,
about.
pause it and go look up
I know what
that
you're
goal,
talking about.
you'll enjoy it.
It's just it just caught me off guard, that Jacob. But fair enough. No,
It's a belter.
he was very good. Then he scored a header as well.
I mean, Vardy, what are you doing, man?
I mean, he's got to get this. He's got
Aye.
to reach for it. He's
Yeah.
tried to get something on it. It's pretty simple. If he doesn't get it, Party's got it at the
It's
front.
not
Party's got it at the front post.
It's
We
not
don't
the
want
most
him.
embarrassing thing from a Vardy this year, is it?
No.
Yeah, let's be honest.
It's definitely not. But honestly, I think obviously Gabriel Jesus will get the headlines. He was because he gets 2 goals, 2 assists. He's fantasy. He's the king in fantasy right now. Martinelli though played
When you captained
incredible.
them now.
I know.
Yeah.
Martinelli was great though as well. He was constant throughout the game, up and down,
Did
up
he
and
make
down.
Fofana look a 70 million defender?
No, he didn't. He
Yeah.
definitely did. Fofana didn't have a great game, but Fofana, you can't. As I think you said to me, you can't base it off.
Pressures.
He was up against a very tricky Martinelli.
He was tricky, but
on
he's
his,
a mean
he was on his day. He's on his game. But I think honestly, if it wasn't for those two, the man of the match would have been Granit Xhaka.
I was going to say,
Oh.
are we?
He was
And the box.
very advanced. Far more.
Constantly.
I think that thing is people think of Xhaka as a defensive midfielder, but he never really wanted to play there.
No.
Like he's aggressive, but he's not particularly good at winning the ball.
No.
Like just because he's a physical presence, people can go, "Alright, I think he's old and mid."
People underestimate how technically good he is.
Exactly.
As well.
Because that's where he played in the Bundesliga. He was much further forward.
And he was then
Yeah.
also very good for Switzerland.
Yeah.
And that's,
Aye.
yeah.
It's
It's the Euros 2016.
His positional sense is great because even when he's going forward, he's able to like Zinchenko's not going to fly forward. But when Zinchenko's going forward, he's filling in and he recognises where the dangerous spaces are for the teams to counter attack,
It's just
which
the
is
fact
what he is good at. And that is his defensive side.
he just
so-
gets silly yellows and silly reds,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
That's
And
the
then
problem. He is-
people that don't watch it will just realise that Jack is just.
Well, the one
He's-
left
he's
is
limited
getting
in certain areas.
investigated for match
Oh.
fixing.
Yeah.
Also,
Also,
against
we're
Leeds as
obviously
well for wasting time.
In terms of this game as well, obviously the focus, as Callum said, is going to be on Arsenal. But another bit of focus I want to put on is it squeaky bum time for Brendan Rodgers at Leicester?
Not yet.
No, nowhere close.
It's not his fault.
He's had years of success there, and then they've given a summer where he's actually pretty much had to sell players.
Yeah.
Like they needed to get rid of Kasper Schmeichel so he could play Danny Ward in goals. Like if no board is being that cheap and then going like sack our manager now and spend even more money.
Also, just quickly talk about Madison's goal, how that snuck in. That's poor goalkeeping.
It is. It's poor goalkeeping. It's actually also poor from Gabriel. He's not come out to close the space. They're having a wee go at each other after that. Him and even Zinchenko as well. He's not covered the space. Ramsdale thinks that the ball's clearly coming as a cross.
Yeah.
He's not focused. That's the one problem I've got with Ramsdale. He's lapsing concentration at certain points in the game, and when he's not involved in the game for long parts of the game like he was,
Which is
against
now going to
Leicester,
have less and less. The way Arsenal are, they're getting better
Yeah.
and better. They're probably going to
it's
have
lapses in concentration where he's not focused. Even with for example, the Saliba own goal. Saliba obviously knows that back. That's the thing. That's the thing with that with Saliba. It's actually Ramsdale. It was a lack of communication from the two of them, and because they're starting to work together now, it was a lack of communication. Because Ramsdale should be at fault for that as well as Saliba. But the great thing about it after that is when he scored that the own goal. The crowd were cheering and like
Celebrating the
Well,
goal.
to be
not that, but they were not.
Yes!
They were giving him encouragement. And that, he then played. He was a man. Honestly, if out of that, he was one of the again. He was incredible.
I mean, it wasn't like one of the best defenders in League One last season for no reason. He's a quality player.
But that's what I'm saying. He didn't let his head drop because of the way the crowd were as well.
That head up of yours immediately.
Yeah, it was good.
Right, on to the next game of this weekend, and the scoreline for this one doesn't really do it justice because it was actually a decent game. It finished Brighton 0, Newcastle 0. A couple of disallowed goals in this one for I think for both sides. I think both sides had the ball in the net at one point, and I think Stu kind of said that it was like an XG merchant game.
It was Brighton from 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
They controlled the game and they got unfortunate.
I mean, everyone I think predicted this to be a draw. Both sides had good seasons last year. Both sides obviously started well last week, and just everyone thinks they're going to have good seasons, so no one really picked a winner. I'm pretty sure we all predicted to be a draw, didn't we?
I think it was.
I expected a goal. I expected a goal from both sides.
From what we've saw so far from the two teams, I think they will both be top 10.
I think they'll be round about.
Yeah, they were
round about there. I don't know. I think Newcastle are more likely to finish higher than Brighton. I just think Brighton are serious. I think they've got a serious issue with scoring goals.
Oh,
they are one of the best teams to watch in the Premier League in terms of the actual the football, the triangles they make as well. It's just.
I think goals come in that team. I don't think.
Well, they didn't 2 years ago.
I think that was, but then they did the season after, and I don't think a lot changed there. Like, it's not as if they changed their striker.
It was a game where Nick Pope kept
He also was.
Exactly.
exactly.
That wasn't poor finishing. Like, if you looked at
If you was. You see Pascal Gross's
a
match.
few of them, but
That's what I mean.
a lot of them were good strikes. A lot of them were, like, even if you look at the post-shot expected goal as opposed to just the XG, like, it would still be very high.
There you go.
There's your stats with Stu for this episode.
No, but Pope had the game of his life.
He was confidence was sky high though after fucking trending on Twitter for like
I see that was
a day
amazing.
or 2 days.
Nick Pope.
I was going to say, I think, was it not like Toon Poles or something like that as well? Their Twitter account is now made at that point. So, yeah, pretty much the boys have explained a lot in that game. It was a pretty even game, and just.
No, it wasn't.
It was
They had 0.18 XG at Newcastle. We just explained that was not the case.
Absolutely dominated.
They were shite. Bruno Gomes was shite. They were getting caught in the ball.
Do you not like
Jordan
Bruno?
was bad.
No,
Just
Bruno-
like bad.
No, he's a very good player. He had a bad game. He was very good the week before against Forest.
That's 2 clean sheets out of 2 for Newcastle though. Considering they've since the last 10 years, Newcastle fucking conceded goals every single game.
well, they've actually now got a goalkeeper that can keep them
yeah.
in games and that as well. As Heggie said, I think
Dubravka was a good keeper, just
Dubravka-
not Nick Pope. Pope's problem is
No, he's a brilliant keeper, he just can't pass.
yeah, that's his problem.
Okay.
I mean, you'd rather have a keeper that saves loads of
Of
shots
course you
than
would.
one that will
Of course
pass.
you would. I think when you're evolving your team though, he won't be.
I think you are, because
Depends on the team.
That's what I mean.
If
If you're evolving your team to play a certain side of football, you don't want.
You'd rather a keeper that can pass it and stuff.
but not a team like Newcastle.
No.
I mean,
they're going to face a lot
But
of
they're going to
shots.
get better. They're going to change their style. Eddie Howe, does he want a keeper that plays at the back?
But right now,
Ask
you
him.
would rather have
He
Pope.
said that. He said this, and he said this. He was saying last week was all about how Pope was meant to trying to focus on getting play out of the back against Forest, where they had more of the ball. This week wasn't the case. because they
Pope was
had
never
less of the
going
ball.
to. Pope was
He
never going
clearly
to
wants
learn
to play.
He was never going to learn to play with his feet at Burnley. So maybe at Newcastle.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's what he's
Well,
focused
that's
on.
the
He
thing
can't
about-
do it.
There's a lot of players who have left Burnley, and you kind of went, fucking hell, they're actually no bad in the ball. Like Tarkovsky and
Yeah.
Ben Mee, you're like, yeah.
That's what they're focusing
We'll get
on.
on
He
to
can
Ben
get
Mee.
better. We're not saying Pope's bad. It's just he's not being good.
I also
He
think
could
Pope,
get better. This could be something.
when he's like launching the ball, when he's like hitting it long, he's good at that. He's good at alleviating pressure with a long ball, which Dubravka was never particularly good at even doing that. He was a pretty shit kicker all around.
Yeah.
And they had a howler on him.
He definitely had a Howe on him.
He was a very good shot stopper before his injury. He had
Was
a
it the
few-
World Cup or the Euro? It was the Euros one.
I think it was the
Punched
Euros.
ball in the net for
Yeah.
Slovakia.
Oh yeah.
Was that the one where he came back too soon for the Euros? I think he was
I
like
can't. I
forced
just
to.
remember it was horrendous.
Anyway,
Funny though.
Anyway, next one for this weekend was, of course, the game at the Etihad between Manchester City and Bournemouth. It finished 4-0 to Manchester City, which is one of not exactly unexpected.
We all
result.
predicted a Man City pumping. Well,
Yeah.
nearly all of us predicted a Man
Well,
City
those guys-
I did say to you that I think it's going to be a pumping, but
it's obviously going to be a pumping. It's just they might not, like Bournemouth might sit on the edge of their box.
Yeah,
and
they
you
just
can
kinda
see
Yeah,
it.
it was
Bournemouth could do any tactics. They were getting pumped by this Man City.
Yeah, like this is not a game that you look at and say like this is going to define Bournemouth if they stay up in the league or
No.
not. It's definitely not that kind of
The
game.
games last week where they won.
Like obviously, exactly. Like they won last week as well. So yeah, I don't think there's much else to really say about this game as well. It's
As
just
a
dominated.
closet Man City fan, Heggie, what did you think of it?
I mean, just what you expected, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's not. I expected Haaland to
Do
get
you
a
think De Bruyne is the best player in the league?
that goal?
On his day, 100%.
Yes.
You don't think so?
I think Van Dijk.
Oh, right.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay, right.
I was going to say, can we talk about the fact that Haaland should have had about another 3? Like, realistically.
No, they should have had 2,
Foden,
realistically.
Foden should have played it back into him.
Yeah, and there was
I
one
quite like that he didn't though.
No, shut up.
and there was one chance where he could have gone, and then that Bournemouth defender just got there.
I think this game is proof that you could fire literally anybody up front for a lot of City games and they would still win.
Yeah, because they had
8 touches. And of course part of it is Haaland, such a danger in behind, he's going to create space.
They were shit scared.
But-
They would be shit scared of me.
Right, exactly. But still, like, there was a lot of times where the defenders weren't dropping deep, they were holding their line and they still just dominated.
The better start with that one was Haaland only made 2 passes. One was
free
kick
kick.
off and one was his assist.
Yeah.
That's that mental.
I was gonna-
75 minutes he played.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they just dominate the ball deep.
Yeah,
How many runs around he made shouting for it and just never got it. That must be so frustrating.
I was going to say, but it's surely a case of City just aren't quite used to playing with that proper number 9 just
No,
yet.
probably
And as the season goes on, then they'll probably...
They had Aguero.
They had Aguero.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's been only the last 2 seasons have really not had a number 9.
Teams change how they play in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that.
but like players don't forget how to play with a guy running in behind.
Oh yeah.
And it's definitely one of those ones I think you'll see a lot more of Haaland, more as the season
Haaland
goes
will
on.
be fine.
Haaland's going to be okay.
Callum trying to tell himself that for a fact.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine as he
He's
sits. He'll be fine as he sits in the corner, just waiting for a goal to get scored.
Won't be getting captains. It's fine. Salah can get captains. Take stress out of me. I just know it's going to be Salah from now on now.
So, anyway, the next one that we're going to have a wee look at for this weekend was the game at St Mary's between Southampton and my Premier League team of Leeds United. It finished 2 each between them, Rodrigo getting 2 goals for Leeds, and Aribo and Kyle Walker-Peters scoring for Southampton. I think that's a decent point for Leeds, to be honest with
No, they
you.
bottled it.
It's a good
Well,
point in
we're not
terms of
2-0
away
up.
from home,
Bottled
but
it.
they're 2-0
2-0
up against Southampton, who have had a dreadful 2022, and everyone predicted them to finish 14th and lower, 13th and lower, didn't they? So
Who's Southampton?
Aye,
A lot of people had them 16th.
A lot of people.
Exactly.
I had them just
I didn't know, so I thought if I say 13th, 14th, I won't get crucified, but I still managed to get crucified, so it doesn't matter.
We were
It doesn't matter what you say.
we were in a relegation battle this time. We were in a relegation battle. I'm taking any point I can get for Leeds.
I mean,
And
Rodrigo, they paid a lot of money for him, and he's the top scorer 2 games in.
He's been playing centre mid.
Still, even when he got both his goals.
He's captain as well.
That's even crazier.
That is weird.
Because
That's so
Phillips
weird.
and Rafinha left, he's now captain.
No, Cooper was their captain though.
Was it?
Yeah,
Is he away though?
No, he's
And
injured probably.
I was going
Sits about doing nothing.
No, that's
Done
not
that
right.
for
He was captain then.
And at this point, we're going to need Rodrigo to put in some goals because Patrick Bamford is injured again.
How long is he going to be out for?
I don't know, and I don't want to
It's
know.
Bamford, he's made of wheat a bit to go out for 5 months again.
Like,
He
and
missed so much of last season, didn't he?
like honestly, like if we'd actually managed to stay fit last season, our season would have been a lot less stressful. But hopefully it's a case of with Rodrigo we'll be fine. We'll get some goals in, and then hopefully we won't be in the same situation as we
Do you
were.
think they'll play Greenwood up front or Rodrigo?
I think they'll go Rodrigo the now. I think they'll go Rodrigo the now, and then they'll try and like if they need to, they'll phase Greenwood in. Like see if they're like needing some change a game or anything like that. They need like a sub up front, like Rodrigo's.
So every game when they're 2-0 down, he'll come on about the 60th.
It's Mars ball, baby. It's built
I saw Aribo got his first goal in a typical Aribo fashion. Should have shot, megged the goalie, and then slotted it out right foot.
Right, it was so crap.
I
And
don't
then
know.
it was like, how on earth does he squeeze
I
that
have no
pass
idea.
to keep? I mean, then he.
I actually preferred possibly the second goal. That pass fizzed into Walker Peters. Unbelievable, wasn't
There
it?
you get off.
Unbelievable.
Mara.
I've not even heard of it.
20-year-old from Bordeaux. He's French. I looked up last
Fuck
night.
yeah, that's the stats you get on
I was
Flatchat.
going to say, you do not get these kind of stats on any other podcast other than the
Unbelievable.
It
Flatchat.
was a good pass though.
It
That
was
was
literally
just-
the perfect pass.
That was genuinely unbelievable. I was what a player.
But-
But it all started, the comeback all started from Joe Aribo.
But Mesley has to do better with the goal.
Yeah, he
I
does.
mean, both goals, he got megged for the first.
I mean,
No, he didn't.
It's not, he did, Aribo megs him.
Oh no, sorry, yeah.
Messi he's one thing about Messi is he's quite a modern goalkeeper in the way he plays. So he's did the right thing there in terms of the decision making. He has just made a state of it execution.
He's so young though, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's-
He's like the youngest keeper.
Oh,
in the league, I
because he
think.
was starting for them when he was about 12.
He genuinely looks about 18.
I think a lot of Southampton fans were still fucking
Jacob, that's
fuming.
Sorry, boys.
That's great.
Great.
Ralph,
But
despite the fact they came back and they were almost fuming that it's alleviated a bit of pressure on them because I think they were raging at the formation, they were raging at the three at the back, and they were raging that Aribo hadn't started.
I know, I couldn't believe that.
yeah, it was.
And the way they play with the 3-5-2 kind of does suit Aribo. He's a wee bit deeper as
Actually,
one of the two.
he played striker last week, but he was like the second striker.
Aye, that is his position.
I
On
think
paper, though, it looked as though he was playing striker, and it didn't really make sense.
If you actually watch it and
Yeah.
see.
Well,
Who scored last week?
But like last season, they were kind of playing a position to them as well because they were playing like almost two wide tens, and they were playing Armstrong there quite a lot. And I think they wanted Aribo to almost take over that.
Did they not play Adams and Broja as a three?
Yeah,
last
it
season,
was.
no?
Aye, but they played wide tens with it a lot of the time, man.
Two wide tens and
So,
two
sometimes Ralph's like changing his system.
Aye, they do that, and then they've got Ward-Prowse and Romeo. They play
Aye.
as the two like holding midfielders.
Setters.
Aye, it was that 4-2-2.
Aye, it was like
This boy played a lot of FIFA.
Aye, he's
yeah. They played with two very narrow wingers
Yeah.
more so than wide.
It's
tens,
like
maybe, whatever.
Southampton for years have played like a 4-4-2 variation.
Yeah, basically.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah. So yeah,
Ralph likes having two strikers, and I think Aribo in that 3-5-2 almost plays like in the out of possession. In possession, he'll drop deeper.
Yeah, because he's so good at pressing.
He's a very good presser, and you know Ralph's that Red Bull coach.
Yeah, he's got that kind of Red Bull
But to
DNA.
be fair, knowing the way Southampton have been under Ralph, they'll be shit for 20 games, and then they'll be
I
Still a big result.
I still can't believe
No,
they
not
lost
big
9-0
result.
twice and then.
I mean, it's one game though. Like,
I know, but it's 2 games. 9-0 twice.
across the multiple seasons.
That's what we call a yearly tradition.
I just couldn't imagine like the club I support losing 9-0 and then keeping them. Maybe that's the the clubs I support.
If you lose 1-0 or 9-0,
If-
it's the same
if-
thing.
Exactly, you still
If
don't.
Frank lost 9-0 next week, do you want him out?
Yeah. 9-0 against Forest at home. Definitely one number 2.
I'm more about the like next week, but 2 weeks. You're playing 2 weeks. Better be someone good.
I was getting. Realistically, if it's like a team like Man City, then
I
then
easier game.
they
as
could do
well.
that.
Right.
If we played like Liverpool at Anfield or something like that, but that's like a derby then.
Aye, that's a derby. If you lose a derby,
Right,
I know
Man
you want you want you off yourself.
Chelsea at home, 9-0. Would you want him gone?
Yeah, because I'd be thinking, fucking hell, he's clearly still at Chelsea. Anyway, should we
Right,
let's move on. Let's move
This one away quick though.
hypothetical chats about
Yeah.
for losing it. I
Bob
thought
Shaw-
hypothetical to
Watch out for the clip of that particular one in the coming future when it happens. So this one's going to be fairly quick. It was the game at Molyneux between Wolves and Fulham. 0-0 draw. I think the only real sort of thing of note was that Mitrovic missed the penalty.
Again.
I said last week that we
Should've been
would
off.
be 0-0 and have the worst game ever. I just have got it 1 week early. It was this week. It was dull. I mean, we should have get sent off. You
Yeah, he
He should
should've.
have got sent in jail.
Aye, well I'll tell you who got a second yellow last year. Martinelli, get that. He's tried. It's a professional foul, but he's swiped the player's legs. It's a clear yellow. Then he's head butted to Warner's way. They've just gone up, just 1 yellow for that. What a load of bloody nonsense!
I'd quite like though that Mitrovic missed his penalty. Put Blair Murray out of the last fan standing. There's always some good that comes of it.
I was going to say, got to love the Barclays for that.
Who did you have in the last fan standing?
I had Chelsea.
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Oh, Arsenal,
I had
yeah.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was meant to say Chelsea was a shock.
I didn't go Chelsea. Didn't go Chelsea.
Actually,
Went Arsenal.
Yeah, I went 5 yeah,
Sorry.
kind of went. I think I went Chelsea last week.
Imagine when Chelsea scored like this. No one went for Chelsea, did
That was
they?
good. And now we come to possibly the reason that a lot of fans will watch this: the game between Brentford and Manchester United.
It's actually baffling how happy Aaron gets when Man United are doing
Oh, see when
He's like,
see when Man United suffer, I am delighted. And they more than suffered in the heat at the G-Tech Community Stadium. They lost 4-0. Yeah, they lost 4-0. Josh De Silva, Jensen, Ben Mee, and Emblemo, all within 35 minutes. Can we ever talk about this particular game?
If we talk about the game at the G-Tech Community
I always am talking about how the G-Tech Community Stadium, one of the finest in the league.
The best in the league. But Man United, let's take a stock. And Man United fans, your team is bottom of the league. Bottom.
pretty bad.
Like
I don't get just
Been there.
all of them. Like, last season.
Last season, 3 games in.
Not even a goal.
So they will be bottom 3 games.
30, and the fact that I thought it was going to be, see, the 35th minute 4-0, I thought this was going to be the 7 or 8. I genuinely thought they were going to, because that 4th goal was just counter boom, and I was just like, that's just going to keep going.
Yeah, like Man United were so vulnerable on the counter attack. It was
so open.
Like,
and it set the tone with the first one with the hair, the
and
then the second one with the
Eriksen is so.
It's partly to blame both.
I think that's a 50-50.
Yeah,
it's still so bad.
You can't give him the ball.
Eriksen does not look over his shoulder once.
Yeah.
He should know that someone's with him.
I was saying about that, the fact Man United have signed Eriksen to play
the same
deep
when they,
instead of ever thinking about signing
an actual box-to-box midfield.
They played him number 9 last week.
But they played him deep this
I know,
week.
that's what I'm saying. What is the point in signing a player?
they want to play him
Nobody's gonna
where they play Bruno, but Bruno's actually very good. They didn't actually need a position
So
for that position.
whose fault is that he's getting played? Is this Erik Ten Hag?
Why
is it not his fault? No.
It's the fact they've not bought someone else, I think.
No, it's a fact that they have the worst scouting department, the worst transfer department in the entire league. I think you look at most teams in the league now, and they don't really make stupid signings as much as they used to, just because data's so prevalent. You can get every game.
Most, I wouldn't say it's definitely not all.
There's 18 now, I would say. The 2 who don't, Everton and Man United.
Yeah.
But
I'd say Villa make interesting ones. I think they're hit or miss. They spend a lot of money.
That's
they're not the same level.
There's levels past those 2, but I think those 2 have stayed in the 2000s where they listen to agents and stuff.
Yeah, like, bear in mind they never had a proper director of football until like 2-3 years ago. Like,
But still don't.
But some of the blame still has to go on Ten Hag because
of course.
the players they brought in Martinez. He was at fault for the 3rd goal.
Right, I'm going to be honest. That if he's taller, Ben Mee still scores that and nobody speaks about it because that ball from the back post coming back across is so dangerous. Like Martinez is in a position where he's standing on the line and he's got to beat a man coming in 1v1 and for a header. Like I
think a lot of that is more in the fact that Brentford are very good at set pieces and Man United rather than Martinez being 5'9", because obviously you can still be 5'9" and still be a good football player in that as well. I think it's as Stu said, like Ben Mee's coming in a 1v1 situation, and as you said, if he's taller, nobody talks about that goal other than the fact it's just a great set piece from Brentford.
To be fair though, with Ben Mee's like half his height at that point because he's fallen over.
No, Martinez was half Ben Mee's height.
I know that. Ben Mee is half his own original height because he's falling over while he's trying to head it in. And Martinez is still.
I think
he's honestly. He
doesn't defend it perfectly, but I don't think that's the problem.
Martinez is definitely not the blame for Man United losing 4-0.
I think
he's certainly not.
It's certainly
not came in and set the world alight, has he?
No, but that's the thing. I find a lot of rival fans, obviously, because it's not Man United fans are going to moan about it because he's a good footballer. But the problem a lot of rival fans had was the fact that he's small and he's coming into a very physical league. That you're going to play week in, week out against teams like a Brentford that do have, it's like walking with giants, like they are huge.
Like, what's it going
to be? They were licking their lips when every time the ball was.
What's it going to be like? What's it going to be like a couple weeks time?
That's what I mean. But
they scored one goal from a corner, and he was put in a position where it's so difficult already. Like that, the header at the back post is where you're creating that chance from.
Yeah, I see you're saying from that one part. I'm just making it a generalization that it's.
I think as well, Man United again just don't look like scoring many goals. Last week it was a shock of their own goal. This week against Brentford they've been pumped but not looked like scoring at all.
Yeah,
like how are they meant to create anything when they've got no defensive midfielder in to shoot up?
When they've got one of the best creative players that could create chances playing box to box.
Why not play Martinez in central defensive mid? He's played there before.
He hasn't played there for 3 seasons.
I know, but he knows the position. Why not get Varane in, someone that is a good defender?
They did that in the second half and they looked better.
They made 3 changes at half time.
One of them was
Shaw, McTominay and Varane.
No, they brought McTominay off. I don't know why they never did that.
For McTominay.
They took Martinez off as well.
Which even though Maguire was on a yellow and just...
That's the thing, it's because I think Erik Ten Hag's been forced to play Maguire. Surely he's got to be. Why is he playing Maguire?
I think...
Why is he playing Maguire?
Maguire over Varane?
You surely picked Varane over Maguire, surely.
Ultimately, I don't think Maguire was at fault for any of those.
Yeah,
He was.
yes, he was the fourth. He's ball watching. It's criminal.
The fourth one was just ridiculously easy
The
because
fourth one's the
Maguire-
exact same goal they conceded last year against Everton. Like, it's the exact same goal. Counter, not enough players there, done.
But Maguire is further back than Tony, and Tony sees that the ball's going to be played, and Maguire doesn't, and that's how Tony gets in with all this space.
And Martinez just there, he's doing nothing. There's nothing wrong with Martinez at this point.
Sure.
Shaw is just he's slow. He's getting, even when he gets close to him, he's getting
He's
a wee arm shrug him off and Wemo.
Another player that was rapid and just riddled with injuries though.
And that leg break didn't help him, did it?
Yeah.
Like, we could genuinely sit here and have a whole episode dedicated to just Man United and that as well, but obviously I think it kind of obviously speaks for itself.
I just think De Gea should have never been starting this season for them.
I know they sent Henderson on loan to Forest. I know
Henderson wanted to. Henderson,
Yeah.
I don't think was an option.
No, he sees himself as number one.
Aye, and there was an interview where I said he was.
Let's not get something twisted though. It was unbelievable tactics from Frank.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, take nothing away from Brentford. Nothing. Like, genuinely, they came out and they outplayed Manchester United.
They targeted a man that they used to play for them. They targeted him. They did it. They set the traps when they were trying to play it from the back. Again, they're focusing on players like David De Gea, who's not particularly great with his feet.
Aye.
And that's the thing. What you're alluding to when you're saying.
They should have been.
I know.
They should have
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Because he was shocking shot stopping on Saturday, but
But
that's
usually
not the
strength.
weakness.
Yeah.
Like I'll accept that was a freak one almost.
I like that he came out and did the interview and said, "This is my fault, we lost." And you just at that point kind of feel a bit sorry for De Gea because there was actually quite a while for Man United where he was keeping them in games and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. He's doing what a lot of people in that Manchester United team will not do right now, and that's take responsibility for like what's happened.
It's very true.
And Henderson today. Which
Speaking
we're
of,
going to talk about next. Man of the match performance again.
Exactly.
Penalty.
Of course, the game that Heggie is very much referring to, and a nice wee segue there, was the game at the City Ground, the first one in 23 years for Nottingham Forest at home, and they beat West Ham 1-0. I'm delighted for Nottingham Forest. I actually really, really like Forest. I think they're a really good team. And
I swear I had this result a few years ago on my career mode.
exactly.
Did you have Lingard get the assist?
Exactly.
No way, I did have Lingard. He didn't have high enough potential.
Yeah, looked him up in Google saying top 10 potential signing them.
It was 95 rated Ben White with their assist.
I'm not even joking. That was his rating.
But anyway, also there was a few talking points in this particular game. Obviously, the penalty that Dean Henderson saved.
That should have been a red card.
That should have been a red card, I think, as well. And of course, West Ham having a goal disallowed for
I think both teams had a goal disallowed. Ben Ma got one for West Ham.
Ben Mamas was definitely should have been disallowed.
Johnson's Forest was offside.
Yeah.
It just looks thingy, like you see a goal disallowed, but it actually could just be.
Gordon's for Everton was 3 miles offside.
I thought straight away. I stood up, sat down, and then they didn't give it for ages.
That's just what.
And then you rewatch, and then no, there's not much standing up usually. And then you rewatch it, and you see clearly offside, but you also see Cody's shirt getting pulled that much. You're just like, they're not even looking at that. They don't care.
Yeah,
They don't care about that.
Yeah, they're just completely ignoring that as well.
Well, it's not clear and obvious. Like,
Yeah.
What it was clear.
But yeah, obviously the penalty as well. Declan Rice choreographed that so much. Obviously, it's a fantastic save from Henderson. Let's take absolutely nothing away from that. But Declan Rice,
Ederson.
not Henderson. Basically, but he choreographed that penalty so much. He even said that in the post-match interview, saying, "I knew he was going to go that way."
I didn't know he was a penalty taker.
I thought it was Bowen, and that's why I got him in fantasy. He's getting taken out for Kulusevski.
This is what happens when you have Kulusevski in from the start. He still doesn't.
When are you in the league, Gavin?
Let's not talk
Don't
about
even
that.
care.
I was going to say Liverpool's not played yet, so it's fine.
We'll all get the same players.
So, and finally, in this particular weekend of games, we'll talk about the game that has, well, not long just happened. That is, well, the game at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Spurs that finished 2 each.
Game of the season so far.
You said the stadium there before you pulled the game up. That's crazy.
He's so excited about what stadium it is.
No, you're the stadium. That's what I'm saying.
I was going to say, well, I mean, to be
This felt like old school Barclays Premier League.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it
That's
does.
what I mean. Yeah.
They're fighting, the tackles flying in.
The Battle of the Bridge Part 2.
Honestly,
Yeah, it was.
which makes me think just how wild was the Battle of the Bridge, that because this game had a bit of everything. And that game
there wasn't that many tasty tackles. Most of the
It was
always
always
it was handbags and
from all the managers.
Most of the content was
great.
just Tuchel and Conte having having arguments and that as well.
As Chelsea fans now hate two ex-managers, Mourinho and Conte.
They probably hate any manager that leaves them, don't they?
Oh, they hate Mourinho. I know.
They never liked
They hate
Rafa from the
Rafa.
start.
Of course they hate Rafa, yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Not better at all. Not better at all. But yeah, Koulibaly and James scoring for Chelsea, and Højbjerg and Harry Kane getting a 96-minute equaliser for Spurs.
Such a rat.
2 new signings for Chelsea for the creating the first goal and scoring the first goal. Cucurella and Koulibaly. I think they'll both do well this year.
I think they'll both do well this year.
If Cucurella gets game time, yeah, because
Oh, he starts with bench Chilwell.
Chilwell play a lot of games.
No, Cucurella's better than
You're not going to spend that much
Chilwell
money on
and
Chilwell.
They spent a lot of money on Chilwell as well.
it depends
They
what
just
size
spent
of
a lot.
office.
But they spent a lot of money on Cucurella
Oh, yeah.
more recently.
Yeah,
Play
62 million in that as well.
That's-
It depends what system they play. If they play a 5, they'll play Cucurella. If they play a 4, they'll play Chilwell. Because Chelsea favoured Alonso last season to Chilwell when they played in a 5.
Yeah. I mean, Alonso.
The thing is, in a 5, they could, if injuries merit it, play Cucurella left centre half.
Yeah.
You know, because they were playing James
Yeah.
right centre half.
No,
And like this man got heated about that earlier on that as well.
I can't
So
believe it either, to be fair. But to be fair, that right wing back role was filled quite nicely by Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He
Yeah,
was
yeah,
probably
he
one of
did,
the
yeah.
probably one of the best players in the park today. Seriously, he was excellent.
Jorginho as well had another.
He was really good.
But it. On you go, Stu.
He looks far better at ball winning now, because I think
Yeah.
so often he was like this sort of deep liar where he was having a lot of running made up to by Kante, and like he didn't do any defensive work. But I think he's been doing far more, and I think it was kind of the kind of like hangover after the Euros where everybody kind of thought, well, maybe he isn't so good,
yeah.
and then I think he's
Ballon d'Or, didn't he?
That was it.
But
But like after that, I think he's improved in that
Yeah.
a lot over pre-season.
it doesn't. I mean, if you predicted who would have scored the 96th minute equaliser, you would have thought Harry Kane, isn't
Of course
it?
he would.
Like,
Yeah,
he
he'd be
missed,
one of your
he
first
missed
men.
a really good chance. What was it? At 1-0 maybe, or was it 1-0?
It was a 1-0.
1-0. Missed an absolute sitter, and you guys said that he's just got this mentality that he'll get the next one.
Who was it that said it?
He says it quite a lot of this weird sort of, I'm almost glad when I miss a chance, because
Even though it's-
it's like a gambler's fallacy sort of thing when he says I'm going to score the next one
And then
because
he
I'm
does.
due one.
although it's
exactly.
I do rate that.
almost
That's-
a Reece James own goal.
That's elite mentality.
His goal he scored was harder than the chance he missed as well. It was
Oh,
a
definitely, it's a
great
brilliant
header.
flick.
Nah, it's good header, yeah.
Koulibaly's a really good goal as well.
Very
There was
good.
some very bad set piece defending there.
Yeah.
How you leave a man as large as Koulibaly? Like, you know,
That just shows why zonal defending is terrible. If you're going to do zonal, you have to do man and zonal because you need to get someone on Koulibaly to
No,
stop
but
that.
I think
because,
you
like-
can be aware of the threat in a zone because you know they aren't physically limited to the zone. Like,
Yeah.
they've got to be more aware that because the ball, you've got so much time to react because the ball's coming right across their back post there.
But he stood so far back that there
Aye,
was no
'cause
one in that zone.
He's got
No
to-
one picked up Koulibaly at all.
I can't
It was
remember
Emerson who was meant to come out.
but Emerson's got to just be aware. Right, Koulibaly, the ball's going there. He's not going to come into my zone regardless, so I've got to just leave it.
Do you
If
think- do you think that says more about footballers' game IQ that they don't do that?
I think can be match preparation, which, to be fair, a lot of the time under Conte, you can't really say he doesn't do enough
No,
preparation.
he's got
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
He's got
yeah.
everything sorted out.
He definitely
It's
assessed
only
it.
just a player.
It's
telling you with your cookie goal.
I think also a lot of it as well. Like even it's one of those old things where he's like, okay, it's coming to Koulibaly who's shaped to shoot. He's a centre back, and then he goes and does that.
You're probably thinking at that point, just let him hit it.
Just like he's like go and then hit it, and then he goes and does it, and then he goes and does that.
Some finish though. so.
One thing I realised about Koulibaly, but I think you don't really appreciate it until you watch him play like properly. He is very large. Like
He's a large man.
He's
that,
three
he's-
things
I know.
in this game, and 2 of them are the size of Koulibaly.
He's so big.
he is an absolute like
Huge.
I want to get Stu tickets for a Chelsea game just so you can see him live and he'd be like, fuck.
Oh my god.
large man.
I was going to say maybe the Chelsea fans can put that in the lyrics of the song instead of saying he's from Senegal and that as well. Like I don't understand how that chant even remotely works on that as well. But anyway, that is going to be the review of nearly all the Premier League games. There's still one more to a goal as of the time of recording this.
I think we should just make up a score.
I
Just
thought
say
that
it.
I can't believe Liverpool won 6-5.
Salah hat-trick, Luis Diaz with 2 and Trent with 1. Unbelievable.
Let's all say our prediction and who's going to score.
We've
And
already
then we'll clip it.
We've all got
One of his.
It's going to be 2-0 Liverpool, Trent with 1 goal, and Luis Diaz with the other.
Ah, right, okay, Cal.
It's going to be 3-0 to Liverpool. I think that's what I predicted. 3-0 to Liverpool, and Salah's going to score 0. He can't score any.
I am also going to say 3-0. I'm going to say Salah 2 and Nunes 4.
Please no.
I thought that was a brilliant 3-1 win for Liverpool. They played really well. Salah with a couple, Diaz with 1, and then Crystal Palace, just fantastic. Zaha just loves it.
It's good warm up for the 36-0 win that they're going to do in Manchester United.
I think good 4-0 win. Because Salah hat-trick, you know. The third one was a beauty.
Great for all the people that were sensible and captain Salah.
Absolute beauty.
You know, Nunez got one late on, just added.
Insult.
I didn't get him.
Well, I don't have him for this week as well. I think he'll kick in for me next week because.
Very.
Oh, do you know what?
Yeah, I'll put him in for this week. I'll put him in for this week.
He's left his man there, Kanati.
Is that Kanati again?
He's fucked it for the Palace goal.
Don't worry, the second Kanati hits any kind of form, he will be in the team. But anyway, that's going to do it for our review of the Premier League for this week. We hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, of course. And the boys, and we'll see you for the next one. And take it easy, guys. All the best.